Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another great panel discussion with NAIOP. Great to see a full room here, and everybody's having trouble getting focused here, which means there's lots to talk about, lots of activity going on. So that's all a good thing, and we want to make sure that continues. We've got a great panel. Got a great panel that's going to be talking at an interesting time in the market. So we have a couple things to get through and talk about, and then we're going to introduce that panel. Real quickly, as an icebreaker, we have quite a few folks in the room with yellow badges on, which means that those are not members of NAIOP but guests to this event. Some of them are with firms that are members, but if there is someone at your table that you do not know, we're going to do a little bit of icebreaker here and stop for a second. Please reach out and introduce yourself to somebody at the table you do not know. Great. Hopefully everybody met somebody new. Obviously networking is one of the big benefits that our organization brings to our membership. That's you. Networking, meeting new people in the industry, extending your network to increase the ability, your ability to do business. We're very proud that our chapter won. Let's get refocused here. Herding cats, man. Networking is one of the key reasons that our chapter won Chapter of the Year award within our organization this year. That's something you probably saw by email, but something that we should all be very proud of. Another of the dynamics that earned us the Chapter of the Year award was our legislative efforts. And keeping vigilant about what's going on legislatively is increasingly important, and our organization is protecting its membership with that vigilance. A good example of an issue that's going on right now is linkage fees. Many of you may not know what linkage fees are. They are a fee on development and interiors construction, so this affects new projects and it affects existing projects. The city has a proposal in front of it to double those fees. Those fees are supposed to be used for affordable housing construction, and the linkage is supposedly between the development of commercial property and leasing of commercial property and the need for affordable housing. We won't go into that linkage and the validity of that linkage. The challenge is the amount of money raised from these fees really doesn't put a dent in affordable housing. It's really a broken system. However, the proposal is out there to double these fees. That is a significant jump, and it will prevent some projects from happening. It may even prevent some leases from happening, because the cost of that construction is going to go up significantly. So we are quite opposed to that fee, and as you can imagine, we view it as a jobs tax. It's going to prevent new jobs from being created. And we expect there'll be a council hearing in June on it, and when you see that call to action email come out, asking you to show up at a city council meeting or asking you to send a letter of support or something like that, we ask you to respond. These issues are very important to our whole organization, our industry here, and we want to make sure that the good momentum we've seen to have started happening, we'll see what the panelists think about that, keeps going. So with that, I'd like to move to another segment of what we do. Actually, first I want to thank our sponsors, and please take the time on your tables. You have a list of all the sponsors. You have the major sponsors here in the Brokers Circle, and platinum level sponsors, and you can see all those along here as well as all the other sponsors on your list. Please take a look there. Thank you to all of those groups. Again, you supply the funds with which we keep our programs going, and some of those great programs include the golf tournament and our activities with the Marine Battalion we support in Camp Pendleton. So I want to invite Tom Turner and John Garrigan to come up and tell us a little about what's coming up about our golf tournament and how that's going to benefit the Marines.
Thanks, Paul. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Turner with Procopio Corey, and I am proud to serve as, yeah, baby. Going to do a couple numbers for you this morning to get you going. No, I'm proud to serve as a co-chair of the best golf tournament in San Diego year in and year out. How do you know it's the best golf tournament? Well, first of all, the golf is sold out. So if you want to golf, it's too late unless you can scrounge a spot in somebody's foursome. The whole sponsorships are sold out. We're kind of on a roll with this thing. The committee that's working on it is just terrific. I haven't seen him yet, but it's my co-chairs, Tim Hemstreet. Are you here, Tim? Tig Mitchell. The entire committee has been doing a fabulous job. And actually, those working on the golf tournament, would you please stand up and let yourselves be known here so you can be appreciated? Come on, I know you're out there. Thank you. These guys are doing a terrific, terrific job. Thanks, Janelle. Why is this golf tournament so good? It's because it's so darn fun. It's the number one reason. It's by far the funnest tournament around. There might even be a little bit of golf involved this year, but that remains to be seen. Most importantly, what sets this tournament apart from every other is that 100% of the proceeds go to the Marine Corps Special Ops Battalion that we have adopted at Camp Pendleton. These are the Special Forces guys that go in and do the crazy, necessary stuff. And I'd like to turn over to our liaison with the Marines, John Garrigan, to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing for them.
I think everybody knows that we've adopted these guys. Again, it's 1st Marine Special Operations Battalion. We picked this up. You'll all remember it was Adopt a Marine, and we started that maybe 4 years ago or so. And now it's grown. I was joking because it went from a Marine to a platoon to now we have the whole battalion. And it's about 500-600 Special Ops Marines that, in your mind, just think about what the Navy SEALs recently did. These guys are, the Marine Corps' element of that, of SOCOM, Special Operations Command. Having said that, I want to thank you all for your support of this initiative. Clearly, the golf tournament last year was a success for those of you that were there down at Coronado. 100% of the proceeds go to these guys, and it's everything from, if you haven't been hands-on, so you know, when these guys are deployed at Christmas time, we've hung Christmas lights on the houses for pregnant wives and mothers. We've gone so far as to send family members to visit with injured or maimed, Marines who've been hit with an IED or enemy fire. I mean, the interaction we've had with them and the support from them and the personal connection, it's not just about the money, but the personal connection's been overwhelming. I really appreciate your support. Lastly, I wanted to give a little bit of credit for something that we're about to do. John Turpett is designing, and Jack Berger, who I think is here. Jack, are you here? Stand up, Jack. Jack has been instrumental in the absolute, I think, the best thing we could grant to these guys, which was a request for a monument that would be permanent up at Camp Pendleton, which is going to be dedicated to any injured Marine or sailor with MARSOC over the course of, the next generation. So I think it'll be a permanent deal that will be erected here in the next, call it 30 to 45 days. The site has been prepared. Brad Rope with Brickman is here as well. Brad, stand up. I appreciate the efforts and the rest of the committee. What I want to do, though, really this morning is make sure that you're all aware of it. And secondly, when the date for the unveiling occurs, I'd love for you all to be involved and be present for it. It'll be a pretty special thing. So thanks for your support.
Really a great program. So now on to the business of the day. So if I could ask the panel to move its way up to the seats up here, and I'm going to introduce the moderator today, John Turner. John Turner is the Regional Vice President for Irvine Office Company's San Diego portfolio. We're thrilled to have him here to moderate this panel, but it did take some convincing. What many of you don't know is that John's pretty self-conscious about his image and his attire. When the idea of this panel came up, John was very concerned about how he was going to compare to the style of this panel and, to be honest, the style of one particular panel member, and whether he could really keep up with that level of look. I tried to convince him that this wasn't an issue. Relax about it, John. You'll be fine. But to help solve it, I set John up with a personal shopper. And I did hear back from him a few weeks later, and he was really happy. He said, "Thank you. You've really helped me elevate my style." Okay. And I'm feeling much more comfortable that I'll be at the caliber of this panel and be able to compete on a style wardrobe basis. So now that he's more comfortable with his wardrobe, he's really excited about the lead the panel, and I'm pleased to welcome John Turner. Same. Pretty close.
I don't know.
Salvace Arme. Paul, thank you. Thank you very much. And I think, as you can see, the personal shopper did an outstanding job.
Is that old
They
running
said I
company
could take it
approved?
back. Good morning, everybody. Paul, again, thank you very much. I do feel more comfortable being here this way. It's been quite a couple years, and hopefully we'll find out if we're where we are today and where we're going to be heading forward. First, I'd like to introduce the panel. I don't think anybody did that yet, did they? Dave Marino is Principal and Executive Vice President of Hughes Marino. Rob Merkin is Senior Vice President of CB Richard Ellis. Eric Northbrook is Executive Director of Cushman & Wakefield. And Chad Urey is Executive Vice President of Jones Lang LaSalle. You know, over the past few years, I think we've all woken up in the morning and thought, gosh, I really don't want to go to the office today. It's not going to be any better today than it was yesterday. But I do think we're getting a little bit better. And then you can always look in the paper or, you know, on the internet and think that, you know, your lot in life is actually not as bad as some others. And virtually every day you can do this. I mean, you could be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You could be Newt Gingrich, who's just about to ruin his presidential bid in the first 3 or 4 days of announcing that he's running for president, just simply by talking. Or you could be the about-to-be former IMF head, who's well, enough said. So why don't we get started? Dave, if you could help me, there's a name on each one of those.
Okay.
If you could pass them out.
Got it.
I thought we'd start off fairly simply, and these guys are going to write down in the far left column of these.